is putting on a master class on how we should bring our petitions before the Lord. Look at it. Let me summarize it this way. Look at what he does. Number one. Number one in his prayer is he anchors his soul in the character of God. God, this is who you are. Number two, he then goes on to describe to God his circumstances. He describes to God what the challenges, what the griefs, what the sadness, and what the sorrow is that he's facing in his life. And then number three, he goes on to show God that the sadness and the sorrow and the injustice that he's facing in his life is not consistent with God's character. How can a holy God look upon such wicked people? But then there's a fourth thing that he does in his prayer. Let me show you what he does in chapter 2, verse 1. I will stand at my watch and station myself on the ramparts. I will look to see what he will say to me and what answer I am to give to this complaint. Look at what the prophet's doing now. Let me summarize it again. After he has anchored his soul in God's character, after he has described to God the situation that he's facing in his life, after he then has demonstrated to God how what is happening in his life is not consistent with the character of God, he now realizes that he has now put this burden in the hands of God. And that the next thing that he's going to do is to take a step back and say, this is now in God's hands. Now I'm going to wait patiently for God to answer my request.